Alright, in this video we're going to be talking a little bit about materials. Again, all these videos are as it relates to the Unity Certified User Artist exam. So if you're watching this outside of my classroom, these are not an in-depth tell-all about materials or any one particular topic. These are going to be a quick down and dirty, like this is what to look for on this exam style of video. So first thing I'm going to do is let's get our setup going. We need a new folder in here. I'm going to put it in our art folder. This is looking a mess. I'm going to organize this later, but I'm going to create a material. I'm going to name this rusty metal for now, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this material. I'm going to choose a red, probably something a little darker like that, and we'll just actually we'll put it on this cylinder right here. That way as the light hits it and we're working on this, hopefully we'll get to see some of what I'm trying to show. Alright, so a material tells Unity how 3D objects should look, and it does this by using what's called a shader. A shader is a mathematical script that calculates how light bounces off the surface. For the certification exam specifically, you need to know the standard shader. So let's click on this again. We're here as shader type. Standard is where we're at. Okay, so the most foundational property of any material, including the standard shader, is going to be this albedo. Albedo is simply the base color or base texture of an object, completely free of any lighting or shadows. Right? You can assign it a solid color or drag a 2D image directly into the albedo slot. You can drag a 2D image into any of these slots, and they'll do different things based on it. Alright, so now we're going to talk about something a little different. Click on your shader type and change it to standard, specular, setup. Right? By default, Unity uses a metallic workflow, but the exam will probably test your knowledge of specular properties. To see this, we had to change it to this specular setup. Specular refers to the bright highlight that appears when light hits a shiny surface. The specular color determines the tint of that reflection, while the smoothness slider here will determine how polished the surface is. A high smoothness will give you a sharp mirror-like specular highlight, perfect for polished chrome or wet metal. A low smoothness will spreads the light out, creating a dull or matte finish. Let's go ahead and keep it down here into the 0.3 area. The specular setup, we can actually kind of make this a little bit lighter of a gray, something about like that. Maybe even actually let's get a little bit of a brown tint in there for it. There we go. Now, if you end up working with something called normal maps are these blue / purple colored types of maps. They are what displays the texture on an object. So to set it up as a normal map, you need to click on the image, come up here to texture type, change it to normal map, and then you can start utilizing it the way you need to. So with that applied, if we click on our rust metal and we actually drag this into our normal map, then you're going to see that texture applies to here. And if we focus in on our cylinder, you'll see that it actually applies that texture to the cylinder as well. Now, with this normal map, you can actually change the depth at which the texture displays. You can make it less so that it's not as prominent, or you can actually increase it and make it really prominent. So in this case, this rusted cylinder, the metal is really just peeling away and the rust is eating into it. Or you can just make it kind of more normalized and just standard, kind of looking It's really going to be up to you. So now let's say you wanted to make some glass. So let's go ahead and take this guy right here, and we'll create another material, and I'm going to name this one glass, and let's go ahead and just make it like a blue color. We'll drop this onto the guy right there, increase the smoothness just a bit to it. So right now this is just a blue cube. You can't see through it, no light is passing through it, and that's because the rendering mode of this glass texture is set to opaque. Now, to make something like glass, water, or holograms, we're gonna have to change the rendering mode from opaque to transparent. This will allow light to pass through it, and once you do, you can open that albedo color once again, and when we click on it, we're gonna see this alpha slider here, so labeled with the A. This controls the opacity. If we lower the alpha here, then we can actually start to create a glass or see-through type of look to our cube here that we've put this transparent material on. You can really just crank up your smoothness for some nice reflections on it too if you wanted, and then you have instant perfect glass going on right there. If you wanted to, you can also find some really good free textures in the Unity asset store though, but I do want to challenge you to try to practice some of these and get them kind of try to get the hang of it as you're going. So on to the next subject.